In Romania during the Cold War, a band of thieves trespasses into a restricted region and are directed by a guide to ascend the Carpathian Mountains to reach their destination. Despite the physical exertion, they eventually stumble upon an abandoned church containing a peculiar passage that leads to the crypts. Inside, the men discover an exquisite artwork adorned with images of strange winged demons. Though they have heard of a concealed cave brimming with treasure, they are unable to locate an entry point, prompting them to use explosives to blast a hole in the ground. Regrettably, this action results in the destruction of another striking yet unsettling piece of artwork. Tragically, the church begins to shake shortly after, and the floor gives way, causing the men to plummet underground and triggering a landslide that obliterates the structure and traps the group beneath the rubble. Despite this dire situation, all members of the group manage to survive and decide to investigate a strange, bat-like noise that they hear. After 30 years have passed, a team of scientists initiates an excavation of the area where the church once stood. Upon discovering the cave, the scientists observe that it contains a river that extends deep within its recesses. In light of this remarkable find, they opt to engage a team of seasoned explorers to delve further into the cave's mysteries. Meanwhile, in Mexico, Tyler and his team of divers are on a mission to locate an underwater cave in the Yucatan region. Despite encountering considerable difficulty, the majority of the team resigns themselves to failure and abandons the quest. However, Tyler persists until he ultimately succeeds in finding the cave. Upon returning to the boat, he feels a sense of pride but is promptly scolded by his brother Jack, who reminds him of the importance of prioritizing his own safety and adhering to the group's agreed-upon schedule. Later that evening, the team receives a call from Dr. Nikolai, who seeks their expertise to explore the subterranean cave beneath the ruins of the church. He claims the cave extends to a depth greater than 19 miles and wishes to document their findings. Intrigued by the proposition, the team accepts the job. The next day, they arrive at the exploration site and begin to prepare their equipment. It is during this time that Tyler catches sight of Catherine, one of the scientists, and takes notice. Tyler seizes the opportunity to introduce himself to Catherine with the intention of flirting, but his efforts are foiled when the cameraman, Alex, joins the conversation. Nevertheless, Tyler takes the opportunity to showcase his diving equipment. However, their conversation is interrupted by Nikolai, who introduces Catherine to Jack. The two of them quickly bond over their mutual fascination with cave ecosystems, leaving Tyler feeling envious and left out. While nursing his wounded pride, Tyler notices Alex snapping pictures of an unusual discovery, the remains of a human being that the team has discovered in the cave. Later that evening, the team of scientists and explorers convene to review the information they have gathered thus far. They have discovered an immense cavern approximately 300 feet below ground, which they have dubbed the Titan Hall, featuring a sump that leads to an underwater passageway. The team is in search of a dry cavern within the cave system where they can establish a base camp for the scientists to collect samples. Given the cavern's enormous size, they anticipate that they will need to spend 12 days exploring the depths of the cave. Survival expert, Top, cautions the team to respect the cave and exercise caution, reminding them of the discovery of the human remains. Following the meeting, Nikolai shares with Tyler and Catherine the legend surrounding the cave. According to the story, the church was constructed to seal off the cave as a demonstration of God's protective power. Broken pieces of art suggest that knights ventured into the cave to engage in combat with demons. The following morning, the team begins their descent into the hole. Upon reaching the Titan Hall, the team is in awe of the stunning beauty of the cavern and sets to work readying their equipment for the exploration. After deliberation, they choose Briggs as the initial scout, and he eagerly dives into the water, eventually discovering a bend in the cave after several minutes of swimming. He notifies the others of the potential signal loss and promises to contact them as soon as he is able to install fiber optics on the other side using his communicator. As the team waits, Tyler voices his displeasure about not being selected, believing he's the most skilled scout, but Jack remains resolute in his choice, possibly as a means of penalizing Tyler for his actions in Mexico. Meanwhile, Briggs carries on with his expedition, and Catherine approaches Tyler with a tube containing a spider, offering it as a gesture of consolation. They connect over their shared desire to be the first to uncover a previously unseen discovery. The creature resists being restrained and bolts away, but Briggs suddenly turns ashen and claims there's another entity present. The communication begins to falter, and after a brief moment, the team loses contact with Briggs. They attribute the issue to signal problems and resolve to dispatch Tyler and Strode, a specialist in sonar, to repair the cables while the remainder of the team delves into the tunnel. While swimming, they encounter a plethora of astonishing sights, including a massive skeleton of an animal. While the majority of the group remains to examine the enormous skeleton, Jack and Top arrive at the base and discover Briggs' gear, but not Briggs himself. They call out his name, and Briggs answers from a small crevice in the wall of the cavern. Inside, he has come across archaic equipment that indicates they are not the initial humans to explore this site. In the meantime, Tyler and Strode are submerged, repairing the cables, when they catch wind of an unusual sound. Strode believes he spotted one of the moles and decides to investigate, which leads him to discover a new cavern and the mole lying dead on the ground in a violent manner. Meanwhile, Tyler notices that the cables appear to have been gnawed upon. Suddenly, Strode is ambushed by a demon-like creature, and Tyler hears his cries of agony through the communication device. The rest of the team rendezvous with Jack and Top, and Tyler sets out to locate Strode. As he searches, Strode struggles to break free from the creature's grasp, causing his rebreather to float away until it collides with the walls of the cave, detonating and resulting in a cave-in that blocks the entrance. The impact of the blast propels Tyler to the water surface, and he promptly apprises the others of what occurred. Jack and Top venture out to investigate but discover that the entrance is obstructed, and rocks continue to tumble down, so they must promptly swim back. Upon their return to the base, Jack alerts the team that they are trapped, and no one will start searching for them until the prearranged 12-day duration has elapsed. They must devise an escape plan, but Briggs is apprehensive because it's clear that something viciously attacked Strode. Tyler suggests to him that Strode may have experienced a hallucination. Top concurs and emphasizes that their main focus should be on surviving. Nikolai opines that the cave is too vast to venture into and they might lose their way, hence waiting out the 12 days would be the wisest decision. However, Jack disagrees and believes that there is no rescuer in the world capable of finding them because the most skilled ones are already present in the cave. Later on, Jack and Top set out to search for an exit while the rest of the group takes a rest. Briggs is furious with Tyler for belittling Strode's demise and insinuates something unpleasant about their separation, causing Tyler to throw a punch at him. This leads to a physical altercation that Charlie intervenes in, reminding them to act maturely. Meanwhile, Catherine utilizes her time by examining samples she had collected from a dead mole and a salamander. After showing the results to Nikolai, he confirms her doubts there exists an unusual parasite in the cave. Shortly thereafter, Jack and Top come across a spot with bubbling water and indications that other individuals had previously been there. They proceed to crawl through an extremely narrow passage only to come face to face with a group of white scorpions that obstruct their path. To get a better view of the situation, Jack illuminates the area with a flare and is subsequently assaulted by a strange creature that attempts to seize him. Fortunately, Jack is able to sever the creature's claw and free himself. However, Top soon notices that Jack's back has been gravely injured and quickly transports him back to their base to receive medical attention for his wounds. Catherine examines the severed claw and puts forth a hypothesis that all the animals in the cave were once the same as those on the surface. But over time they have evolved and forfeited their vision in favor of a heightened sense of smell and hearing. Nikolai speculates that they have discovered an entirely new ecosystem, while Alex observes that the claw resembles the demons depicted in religious art. The team of scientists also notices that the same parasite is present within the claw. Despite the presence of a dangerous creature, Nikolai is of the view that they should wait. However, the team collectively agrees that they must press on and locate an exit before they become the creature's prey. As the team continues to explore the cave, they come across a collection of human bones that display bite marks, confirming their suspicion that the creature they encountered earlier is indeed a predator. After traversing a narrow passage, they come across a fork in the path, prompting Jack to volunteer for reconnaissance duty. Briggs expresses frustration at Jack's decision, suggesting the use of sonar instead. However, upon checking the path that Jack didn't take, Briggs detects movement on the sonar. Fearful of what may lie ahead, Briggs sets aside his pride and agrees to accompany Jack and the others. The team proceeds to climb a few walls and make their way upwards. To everyone's surprise, Jack astounds Top by claiming he can smell water. Shortly after, Jack's instincts are validated when they come across a river. To ensure that there are no dangerous creatures lurking within the water, he throws a flare into the river. Alex records the entire event, much to Jack's chagrin. In an uncharacteristic display of anger, Jack pushes Alex away and accidentally drops the camera into the river. After Alex confronts him, Jack realizes the error of his ways and apologizes. The team then decides to rest for a brief period of 20 minutes. Jack takes this opportunity to sit alone on a rock, his body racked with pain. From a distance, Top observes Jack and shares with Tyler that the medication doesn't seem to be working. To Jack's surprise, he suddenly realizes that he is able to hear the conversations of those around him, even from a considerable distance. Tyler approaches Jack to check on him, but Jack insists that he is okay and asks for Tyler's trust. After their brief rest, the group continues their journey alongside the river, with Jack doing his best to conceal the pain he is experiencing. The water's strong current poses a significant challenge, and the team is concerned that the rapids could cause them to become lost. Jack, filled with anger, asserts that the only feasible escape route is this one, leaving the rest of the team with no alternative but to comply, despite Alex's observation that Jack's actions are suicidal. As they traverse the rapids, Catherine becomes lodged and Tyler is unable to lend assistance due to the fierce current. Meanwhile, the flow of water propels Tyler away from the rest of the group, and Nikolai clings to a rock with a wounded leg, having been thrown against the cave wall by the force of the current. In due course, Tyler descends a waterfall and is soon followed by Catherine, who reveals that she was held back by an unknown object. Shortly after, Charlie catches up to them and alerts them to an abnormality in the water. Upon inspection, Tyler discovers a peculiar species of eels possessing large teeth. To deter them, he employs a flare, just as the other members of the group get in touch with them and signal their location by illuminating a flare. While Tyler and the girls make their way towards the rest of the group, they hear Nikolai also tumbling down the waterfall. Jack, determined to find him, heads in the direction of his screams, but they soon realize that he's being attacked by some unknown force. Catherine expresses her desire to help Nikolai, but Top reminds everyone to remain in a circle for safety and wait calmly. Despite this, Jack sets off in pursuit of the creature carrying Nikolai, following the trail of blood. After some time, he discovers a massive and terrifying creature and continues to pursue them. Upon resurfacing, Jack observes the creature carrying a lifeless Nikolai through a narrow passageway, and notices tattooed letters on its hand, indicating that it was once human. Meanwhile, Alex senses movement in the water and kicks fervently, scaring off whatever was lurking beneath. Jack returns to the group and recounts what had happened, prompting Catherine to hold him responsible for Nikolai's demise, citing his reluctance to leave the camp. As the group presses on, they discern strange sounds that they identify as echolocation, indicating that the creatures are nearly blind. Eventually, they stumble upon a current that appears to be the primary water source, potentially leading them to safety, but the presence of the creatures renders them uncertain about its safety. Jack proposes that they climb the walls instead, with Tyler and himself leading the way. However, Charlie volunteers to take the lead, but Jack declines, insisting that he and Tyler can handle it. As they prepare the necessary equipment, Catherine confides in Tyler that Jack's illness makes him unfit to lead, unaware that Jack overhears their conversation. While the others are preoccupied, Charlie seizes the opportunity to climb ahead and swiftly ascends to an edge in a matter of minutes. Upon reaching the top, she feels a draft and signals for the others to follow. However, as she ventures further in, she comes face to face with a gargantuan bat-like creature that emits a deafening roar. Terrified, Charlie quickly retreats, losing her footing and falling unconscious for a brief moment. Fortunately, the rope keeps her suspended, and upon regaining consciousness, she realizes that the creature is pursuing her. The team mobilizes to rescue Charlie, but their progress is too slow. To expedite the process, Charlie begins swinging herself along the rope, utilizing her flamethrower to deter the creature's advances. Once she has built up enough momentum, Charlie severs the rope and leaps onto an adjacent wall, believing herself to be out of danger. Unfortunately, the creature proves to be capable of flight and descends upon her, initiating an attack. Charlie puts up a valiant fight, deploying her flamethrower to set the beast ablaze. After the demise of the creature, Charlie also passes away, which leaves the team distraught. As they recover Charlie's body, they observe an alarming transformation in Jack's appearance. His skin has become pale, and his pupils have become narrow. Catherine finally comprehends that the parasite has infiltrated Jack's body through his wounds, causing him to undergo the same changes as the other animals and individuals on this site. Although Tyler tries to justify his brother's actions, Catherine, Alex, and Briggs refuse to heed him any longer, and instead, they head towards the primary water flow that they had spotted earlier. Following the elimination of the creature by Charlie, Jack, Tyler, and Top ascend the wall, as the corridor is now secure. They quickly arrive at a frozen, steep cliff, and Jack decides to descend it. Unfortunately, Tyler slips and narrowly manages to cling onto an edge, but in doing so, his rebreather falls and hits Top, causing him to slide down and injure his leg. Additionally, the rebreather creates a hole in the ice wall, uncovering another cavern. The threesome explores the vicinity and discovers numerous skeletons adorned in medieval armor, verifying Nikolai's tale. As they venture further, Jack stumbles upon daylight beneath the gurgling water, indicating their escape route. However, Jack's health rapidly deteriorates once again, but he disregards it and urges his companions to depart while he looks for the remaining individuals. Tyler vehemently opposes this proposal, citing Jack's obvious illness, which infuriates Jack to the point of nearly inciting a brawl. However, Top intervenes and persuades Jack that Tyler should be the one to search for the remaining individuals. In the meantime, Catherine and the rest prepare to swim, but Briggs detects the creature's approach. He instructs his companions to flee while he illuminates a flare, but the creature remains unafraid and attacks him. Meanwhile, Jack and Top also encounter a creature. Jack and Top swiftly evade the creature's attack, but unfortunately it snatches one of their rebreathers as it flies by. On the other hand, Tyler navigates through the water, disregarding the eels, and surfaces to find his team's gear stained with blood. As he hears screams, he follows them to discover Briggs being seized by the beast. Tyler squeezes through the crevice in an attempt to rescue Briggs, but he arrives too late. The creature has already impaled Briggs on the stalactites. As Briggs draws his last breath, he discloses to Tyler that Catherine is situated further inside the tunnel and bequeaths his pickaxe to him. However, at that very moment, the creature materializes, prompting Tyler to flee through the tunnel, only to encounter another creature on the opposite end. Luckily, he crosses paths with Catherine, who employs the sonar to produce intense sound waves that repel the creature, as sound is their Achilles heel. Together, Tyler and Catherine make their escape until they reach a river, where they leap in and share Tyler's rebreather. As they navigate through a tight passage, they lose the rebreather and Catherine loses consciousness, causing Tyler to haul her to the surface. Fortunately, Tyler's administration of CPR revives Catherine. Suddenly, they hear an eerie noise, but it transpires to be Alex, who informs them that the monster is pursuing him. Tyler discovers an ice formation and assumes it links to the one previously found by Jack. As a result, the group begins ascending immediately. Shortly after, they stumble upon the cavern with the remains and reunite with Top and Jack. The creatures are suspended from the ceiling in a way that suggests they are anticipating something, indicating the urgency of the situation. However, they are short on rebreathers, and even sharing wouldn't be enough. To solve this issue, Jack volunteers to retrieve the one that the monster took. While the rest of the team proceeds towards the water, they accidentally drop a rebreather, creating enough commotion to attract the creature's attention. Alex utilizes the sonar to prevent the creature from getting too close. However, the monster starts to destroy stalactites, causing debris to fall on Alex and injuring his leg. Tyler attempts to go back and aid him, but the creature arrives first and kills Alex. As a second creature emerges from the water, Top and Catherine try to conceal themselves to avoid its echolocation. Despite their efforts, the monster discovers them and persists in attacking them, even when Top strikes it with the rebreather. Tyler intervenes and uses a machete to slay the beast. Meanwhile, Jack flees from a third creature and scales a wall to retrieve the final rebreather. He succeeds by striking the creature and causing it to plummet. With more creatures closing in, Jack throws a tank to his brother and places a flare in the other tank, which he then hurls into the water. The tank detonates, causing the entire cave to quake, distracting all the monsters except for one. This creature heads straight for Jack, who leaps onto its back and plunges it into the water as a sacrifice to aid his companions. As the cave continues to crumble, Tyler, Catherine, and Top swim towards the opening and eventually make it outside unharmed. Several days later, in the city, Tyler bids farewell to Top before rendezvousing with Catherine at a local cafe. He contemplates whether Jack, due to his mutation, could have survived in the outside world, but Catherine no longer appears certain. As she kisses Tyler on the cheek, she reveals her suspicion that the parasite was eager to emerge. Tyler notices that Catherine's pupils are shifting, similar to Jack's mutation. Suddenly, Catherine departs, and a frightened Tyler gives chase, determined to prevent the parasite from enslaving humanity. However, he loses her amidst the crowd.